that tall. Pressure on, diamond sharp. City quiet, ratings high. Welcome to the true and Mark. Ay. Late night with Mark. We go deep as the dark. Put the spotlight on the heart. Everyone, every scar. Late night with Mark. Success, pressure, every part. If you said it on your part. Welcome to the true and Mark. Yeah.
What up, what up, what up?
Sweet.
No extra shit, no extra intro and all that shit, because I got shit to do. It's Saturday. I got shit to do. I gotta go get these cars washed. Salt all over this shit. And gotta go get this, this feet. Gotta get these toenails clipped. You dig what I'm saying? So we got shit we gotta do. So we're gonna get in and get out. Now this is a late night with Mark at 12:30 in the afternoon. Because I was gonna do this the other night, but I said I'm tired. So I didn't want to rechange it and redo the thumbnail, and I still want to file it in late night with Mark. So it's gonna be a late night with Mark in the afternoon, which is fine. So today we're gonna watch this documentary. It's a short one. I'm gonna do some commentary. I never seen it, but I've always wanted to watch it. I just never watched it. The Secret of Selling the Negro. And it came out in 1954. So I'm just really interested on how they marketed to Black people. Back then, this was a very, important time in history. So I'm just curious to see how they market it. And then I kind of want to, first I want to see it, and then I want to compare it to now. Because I do have, some experience in marketing and promotions, and I'll probably get into a little bit of that later. But first I want to see, how was it done back then? All right, so let's just get straight into it. I don't want to waste no time because, like I said, I got shit to do. And shout out to everybody that's coming in. Not really expecting a lot of people. You know why? Because this ain't really pertaining to money. It's Black History Month. So I said, I'm going to do late night shows that are going to be more pertaining to Black history for obviously the month of February. I don't really see anybody else doing it, which is fine. But, I like to celebrate Black history. It's very educational. And I like to educate myself, So I've always wanted to watch this, so I said, "Fuck it, we can just all watch it together and go from there." All right, so let's take a look at this. Hey, moderators, let's get the Full Throttle guy out of here. Let's get him out of here. I think I know who it is. But like I said earlier, we're not going to entertain that, but Black history, racial. You got Italians, they have Italian history. You got Irish, they have, what is that called? St. Patrick's Day. But when you celebrate Black history, people get upset. Now, we've been under attack by what has been brought to my attention as an individual who's acting alone. It's fine. I've never done anything to this individual, but I'm a Black man. in America, and it's Black History Month, and I have a predominant Black audience, and we're going to look at some Black history stuff. Thank you, moderator, for, getting rid of that person. They'll probably be back under another page or something. They, I don't get it. But I have a Black channel because I'm a Black man. I don't know about other history because I'm Black. I don't know about Irish history, Italian history. I'm not interested in it for the most part, but I am more interested in learning Black history, things that I don't know. So, guys, I want you guys to see this. Pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention. And this is not pertaining to the individual that you might think it is. It's been brought to my attention that this is a individual that's operating on his own. Not who you think it is. So it is what it is. Never had any issue with this individual, but, this is a person, from my understanding, that seems to, this is what he does. So, but let's continue. Because after I've done this, I'm going to go off and I'm going to go get my pedicure. I'm just going to go chill. I'm going to go sit in the chair, get the massage, just scrub that, get that heel. Get that heel. Yeah, get that heel. Nice $70, they going to rub the little shit and they going to get in there, get them cuticles. Go get these whips washed. Got to get this salt off the whips. After that, I probably, since I'm out, might as well go get a little workout in. Then, I might step out. Then I come back home. Then I wake up in the morning and probably go get this little shit clipped off. Go see OG. Y'all will probably be watching this. I'm not worried about what they worried about. Mr. Racist guy, hit the dislike button. It's cool. We already know who it is because Black people wouldn't hit it. When you celebrate your heritage, people don't like that. You're not hurting anybody else. You're not demeaning anyone else. You're just watching a documentary on the secret to selling to the Negro. You haven't gave any commentary, but it's racial. This individual is going to continue to come in and disrupt. But I want you guys to see this. We can't celebrate Black History Month. We can't uplift our own people. We're not hurting anybody. The problem is when we watch this documentary, it's going to rear its ugly head. And what it is some people are ashamed. So they get upset. We didn't do this to us. So me going back and watching an old documentary I've never watched it, I don't know what it is, about marketing to Black people, keep hitting the dislike button. Keep going. Keep hitting it. Because we know who's hitting it. We haven't said anything. We haven't watched it. We haven't clicked play. We haven't demeaned anyone. We haven't talked down on anyone. We haven't said anything. Keep going. Don't make me know, never mind. Keep hitting it. Keep hitting it. Keep hitting it because we know who's hitting it. Keep going. Keep going. What they're doing now is they rallying up their troops. Yeah, go watch this guy. He's about to talk about the secret of selling a Negro. Keep going. Because we haven't even done anything yet. I haven't even hit play yet. Keep coming. Keep it going. Keep hitting the dislike button. The more you hit it, the more people come in here. That lets the algorithm know something's really going on in here. Keep going. No, keep hitting it. Keep hitting it. Because it's Black History Month. I know Black people ain't hitting it. Why would a Black person hit something that's educational in regards to Black History Month? So this is becoming the learning lesson now. Now this is becoming the learning lesson. Not the documentary, this. It hurts you so bad because we about to rear its ugly head and you just don't like seeing it. And this ain't even bad, to be honest with you. I don't think it's about marketing to Black people. We're just going to watch a video about how corporations in that time period marketed to Black customers. I don't understand what's racial. I mean, they're marketing based on race, but I don't know. I haven't watched it to know if it's racist. So that just shows your ignorance. Why can't we celebrate Black History Month? Next month is going to be St. Patrick's Day. They dyed a river green here. They dyed a whole river green, and people, they start drinking early in the day. They have a parade. Cool. Nobody. In May, you have Cinco de Mayo. I think in September, you have Mexican Independence Day. They do their parade. It's cool. Everybody can have something. We get something, it's racist. So y'all see this though, right? The problem is you can't stop me. I'm already gone. It's too late. You should have called me about 20-some years ago. So I could do it, not care. Don't mean shit to me. I'm already up. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm out of this world. And that's what you really don't like.
Well, move that over there. Why don't you? You got the level on that, Joe?
Hey, how's this video coming through?
Are the lights hot enough?
Don't forget to dolly in close. All right, be sure and stay clear of number 2 camera, and all set.
Stand by.
So Johnson Publishing is a company that's based here out of Chicago, and by a Black person, the Johnson family. They had a big office uh, downtown Chicago on Michigan Avenue, South Michigan Avenue. I believe it's the 800 block, so like 8th in Michigan, which they published Ebony in Jet Magazine, Tan and Hue. I'm not familiar with Tan and Hue. They probably were dissolved before I was, looking at magazines but anybody that's of age, what Ebony and Jet is. So just a little history on Johnson Public.
Hello, I'm Bob Trout. I've got a story here that I think is big, really big, because it's bound to have a terrific impact on business. I'm talking about a new market, a big new market, millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend. That's right, I said $15 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it? The surprising thing is that it's a fresh market, still full of opportunities. It grew up so fast, got so big in a hurry, that few of us realize its scope. Now, these days, nobody's likely to pass up chances to sell. And yet right here in our own front yard, there's a neglected market. There's money waiting to be spent. To get the story of this market, to be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, to customers, and to salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras and other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story, the story of a new market. Yes, this is the market we're talking about, the new Negro family. Their name is Wells or Wilson, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new
See some.
in Detroit or Breen. They live in Chicago, Smith or Brown or Alexander or Breen. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles, any one of 1,000 cities and towns. All over the country, families such as this are enjoying new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. They're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they're overlooked prospects. Why? Because of some good, valid reason? No. They're overlooked because of mistaken ideas. Because of out-of-date ideas about how the Negro lives and how he buys. The truth of the matter is that the Negro lives pretty much the same as other folks. He buys pretty much the same way, too.
So first thing that I noticed, we're classified, but the Negro buys like any other folk. So we're separated. We're not even looked at as like everybody else. We're separated. Obviously, we knew we were separated back then because of segregation, but I don't want to say it's weird because I wasn't living back then, but this is how we were talked about, like in educational, marketing material that was probably sold or passed out to like retailers on how to sell to black people.
But just the same, a lot of old doubts and opinions keep cropping up over and over again.
I don't like to do business with Negroes. They're drifters. You can't keep track of them.
Yes, although a lot of people think that way, the truth is that 1 out of every 3 Negro families living in cities today owns its own home. That figure comes directly from the United States Bureau of Census.
Maybe so, but Negroes are poor credit risks.
Not more of a credit risk than any other group. Actually, the Negro home buyer meets his payments faithfully, often more faithfully than other race groups in the same economic level. That's the information we got from people who ought to know, the National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well,
The reason why I think that was at that time, and I can just attest from my own personal just dealings, is when you get opportunity like they were getting opportunity at this time, a lot of those cities that he named were in the north. So this was during the Great Migration from the south to the north, where black people were presented with more opportunities and factories, like especially like up in Detroit, and they made a livable wage, and they were able to afford homes. The what you earned back then as far as your wages in comparison to the cost of buying a home is way different then than it is now. Like, you could, one person, the father, let's say the husband, could go and work in a factory, let's say in Detroit at GM or Chrysler or Ford, and be able to take care of that whole household. His wife didn't have to work. They could have 2 kids. They could have 2 station wagons, could buy a home, and that one income would be enough. Totally different today. You need 2 incomes pretty much coming into a house, and nowadays 2 incomes coming in houses, still not a lot. But, when you come from nothing, and this kind of, is a good teachable moment, and you get something, you appreciate it more. You want to hold on to it. A lot of people who acquire things now, like we can go, I hate using the pandemic, but it's such a great case study. A lot of people that came into money during that time period, they didn't earn it. They didn't work for it. So they spent it frivolously because they didn't appreciate it, because they didn't work hard for it. When you work hard for something, you appreciate it more. Back then, people really worked hard for what they got, especially in the circumstances that they were in as far as segregation. So there was a high level of appreciation. People didn't spend money frivolously. Acquiring a home as a black person back then was something that was really highly regarded and celebrated. So that appreciation level was there, and, they took care of it.
maybe, but
They paid their bills on time. They were more responsible.
I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer. But when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been uncovered. For a first-hand report, we would like to take you directly to the United States Department of Commerce to hear this story from the Secretary of Commerce himself. Here is the Honorable Sinclair Weeks, the Secretary of Commerce of the United States.
In the Department of Commerce, we are constantly alert to trends that mean a healthier national economy, better business for the nation as a whole. Recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. The tremendous buying power of this group is backed, of course, by an increased earning power. The average Negro family's income is at a record high. In fact, since 1939, it has increased more than the average income of all other Americans. Just take a look at a few figures. An official Department of Commerce report shows that at least 1/3 of the Negroes living in cities earn from $2,000 to $5,000 a year. Today, the average Negro wage earner brings home a paycheck 4 times larger than the one he collected in 1939. As a whole, the Negro market has a total income of about $15 billion every year. And after taxes, Negro families still have many billions of dollars to spend. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact.
This new buying power has resulted in a class Negro market, a profitable, above-average income group of consumers. For example, the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization, Daniel Starch and Staff, reports these significant figures. More than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set. And almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. It is also a fact, and this is from the magazine The Food Field Reporter, that Negroes spend almost $3 billion a year for food alone. Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated, too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look at these shoppers. Notice what a large proportion of them are Negroes. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of Central City consumer prosperity.
Man, State Street looked different back then.
And security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of Central City consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore located at a transfer point in a non-Negro neighborhood.
This is State Street in Chicago back in 1954. And just look how many people are shopping. State Street today is then like a goddamn ghost town. I was just talking about that the other day. 30% of Chicago's downtown is vacant. A lot of stores have left due to a multitude of different things, increased rent prices, crime, right? And just lack of people wanting to work, the turnover rate, especially as it pertains to like retail. The youth, don't want to work in stores. I mean, retail back in the day, it wasn't just a job where, the younger generation worked. It was actually like you could make a lot of money in retail if you worked your way up through the ranks. When I was in retail in the late 90s, when I was in college, some of those top managers, store managers were making $70,000, $75,000, $80,000. And this is back in the 90s. Because obviously retail was really, really booming. People weren't buying things on the internet. The internet was still very, very young. So people were going into the stores. When I was working in retail in the 90s, like a Saturday was just packed wall to wall, every single floor. Like you were just standing there like this, like you in a nightclub. It's totally different now. Just looking at the amount of, like, I don't know what day of the week this is, but regardless whether this was a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, just the amount of people coming in and out on State Street then in comparison to now is like day and night.
finds that its Negro customers total 25%. The trend is plain. The new Negro families today are moving into more populated areas, to the cities, where there are more stores, more buying opportunities. Since 1940, in San Francisco alone, the Negro market has increased by 89%. In Chicago, by 81%. Houston, Texas, 45%. Philadelphia, 50%. The impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support.
Let's take a look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So more than 50% of these spaces were north.
Markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support. A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in the field. What do you have to sell? Chewing gum or cars? Toothpaste or transportation? Whatever it is, here are millions of prospects, and these prospects are everywhere. Negro customers can no longer be pigeonholed. They cannot be classified as prospects who trade only in certain stores, certain neighborhoods.
Look how the women dressed back then. Beautiful. Dressed a lot more classier. Just every day of the week, it seemed like there was no, even the men, no one like dressed down like how people dress today. And this is just across the board. This has nothing to do with ethnicity, but I just think across the board, as time has gone on, people have just put forth less effort into their appearance. Not to say that, dressing down in a more expensive jogging suit, but it means still a jogging suit in comparison to back then. A man, whether they were working, going to church or not, I mean, obviously if they were working in a factory, but just on a normal day, if they were off, most men wore a suit or a sport jacket. And this is how women pretty much dressed. They took more pride into dressing up.
Today, Negroes shop downtown. They shop in supermarkets. They shop in small neighborhood stores. They'll buy from anyone who wants to sell to them. But we all know that before you can sell to customers, you've got to get to know them. You must understand something about them. What do the Negro customers buy? Why do they buy? How do you sell to them? Let's find out. Let's hear the opinion of men who have spent a lifetime studying the buying habits of customers the world over. Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits.
That makes a lot of sense. Now that put a lot of stuff into perspective for me, because we talk about it all the time as far as keeping up with the Joneses and stuff, but I never thought about the angle of let me just go back in there.
More. He needs to feel important. He's had so little of it. But that's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro, that's about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us.
We want to be recognized. And because at that time we had so little of it, that's what made it important. So I can see it. I can see it. Obviously, it has evolved. It's horrible today because people look for recognition for all the wrong reasons. And this is what puts him in debt. We call it keeping up with the Joneses, but now, puts a little bit more in perspective of how we got here. So when we did, come to the North for the most part, like he said earlier, we went from making our wages went up 4 times. And now we were looking for that recognition, I guess, to fit in with everybody else. So.
But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit.
When I was a kid, there was still a lot of hat stores around. You don't see a lot of hat stores nowadays, but like in the 80s, they were still kind of looming around in the 90s, and then they started to fade away. Back in this time, obviously, men dressed a whole lot differently than they dress today. So as a kid, these stores were still around, and as, people started to, dress down more, you don't see hat stores anymore.
Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
There's a reason for this reaction. Again, because he's had experience with cheap merchandise, the Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer. Another point. The Negro family does things together, as a group. The family works as a unit. It lives as a unit, and it buys as a unit. When you sell to one member, you many times sell to all. It's also true.
Y'all heard what he just said? That was very, very important. We've gotten away from that. You see the family structure there? You heard what he said? They move as a unit. Don't see that shit no more. Don't see that shit no more.
The Negro family does things.
The whole family went out. When dad got something, the kids got something, the wife got something. You moved as a unit. It's shopping day. Shopping day for the family. We all finna go get some clothes. We all finna go get some shoes.
Together, as a group. The family works as a unit. It lives as a unit, and it buys as a unit. When you sell to one member, you many times sell to all. It's also true that many places of entertainment are still closed to the Negro. So he spends more of his money for the things that are available to him, often for items that are considered luxuries. Another trait of the Negro market is the fact that it is a pre-sold market. We know that the Negro buys by brand, and he buys the brands that he knows something about. Where does the Negro buyer get this information? We know that Negro customers are turning more and more to the publications that are tailored specifically to their needs, that give them the news and the information that they want to read about. Many leading businessmen and companies already know this. That's why so many of them are taking this direct, sure route of reaching the Negro customer. The vice president of advertising of the Gruen Watch Company, for example, says this.
In many important cities throughout the United States, Negroes are important customers of the credit jeweler. Therefore, it seemed that Ebony magazine would be a very important advertising medium for us.
And I want to talk about this because I'm seeing something, and as I'm watching it, I'm paying attention to everything at the beginning. Like I read credits. Johnson Publishing is who produced this film, which is a black publishing company. At one point, probably still is the largest black publishing company, and it's based out of Chicago. That's why a lot of the scenery that you see is here in Chicago. And what he's saying right there is, Ebony, Jet, these companies, they target black marketing companies. I'm going to talk about that after this. And then they place their ads because there's actually, and I wanted to work for one of them after I graduated college. I'll talk about that a little later. Marketing and communications promotion, marketing companies that are black owned that target to a specific demographic. Johnson was an early adopter. Tom Burrell was another one. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Tom Burrell a little later, which is Burrell Communications, which is the largest black advertising firm, bar none, which is also based here out of Chicago. So I'm just paying attention to a lot of the things because this is very interesting.
We would say it was very well received, and from our viewpoint, a very successful campaign.
From the Remington Rand Company comes this statement.
Our records show that advertising in Ebony has been effective in many ways, as all good advertising should.
So Mr. Johnson was very, very smart by launching a black publishing company because now all the brands would come directly to his company to market to this specific demographic. And, he had it monopolized. He had it in the chokehold.
It has built a terrific amount of goodwill and has brought a volume of sales and sales inquiries.
A representative of the Alaga Syrup Company makes this statement.
Because of Alaga's regard for the influence of Ebony in the Negro market, advertising space was doubled. Alaga's long experience in selling to Negroes now takes the most direct route to its best customers, reaching Ebony's 2.5 million audience in every issue.
And here are the statements of still other business leaders.
Yes, many business leaders are discovering the most direct and most efficient way of reaching the new Negro market. Look here at the results of the same advertisement in two different publications.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson was very, very smart by starting Johnson Publishing. Because now all the retailers that want to market to black people, they just went straight to him. So he got Ebony and then got Jet. Obviously, if you remember Jet, if you're old enough, that was more, I wouldn't say, I guess let's say risque. You had the swimsuit, the Jet Beauty of the Week, you know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit more risque. Ebony was more, I guess you would compare that to like the black version of maybe People. But yeah, you can just see from the charts.
Ebony and another general magazine. You can see that proportionately, more men and women read the ad in Ebony than the one in the other magazine. And they did a better job of remembering it, too. A greater percentage of readers noted, associated, and remembered the ad in Ebony. But now, wait a minute. If the Negro market is so big and easy to reach, why aren't more companies going out after it? Well, often because of the feeling that there's something entirely different, unusual about selling to the Negro. But is it really so different? What do salesmen say? The successful salesmen who do a good job of selling in Negro communities. How do you go about getting the order?
How do I get the order? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't do anything. Anything different, that is. I've been calling on these accounts long enough to know that the Negro just wants to be treated like everybody else. No matter who you're calling on, a little friendliness and courtesy help a lot. Naturally, anybody resents being patronized or talked down to. So I usually call a man Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, or Mr. whatever his name is, until he tells me to call him by his first name. And of course, I always stick to business. I stay away from talk about race or religion or politics. That goes for talk about Negro celebrities, too. You know, this business about what good prize fighters and singers the Negroes are. Who cares? When a guy's in business, no matter what color his skin is, he's interested in making a living, in making money. That's uppermost in his mind. I guess maybe what I'm saying is that I try to help any way I can, sometimes with displays or ad materials, or an idea once in a while. The important thing is that if it helps push sales for the dealer, it helps push them for me, too.
Handle the Negro account just like any of your others. Don't patronize. Stick to business. Get interested in the account. Pitch in and help any way you can. Sounds like pretty good sales advice. That's the secret of selling the Negro. Well, how about it? What do you think of this new market? It can open new outlets for you and for everybody who sells goods or services. It's still possible to get in on the ground floor when this market is just beginning to grow and to expand. The facts and the figures that we see here are just a small sample of what they promise to be next year and the years after that. Yes, here are men and women with money to spend, and they spend it for exactly the same things as you and I and everyone else. They buy almost every type of product and service that you have to offer, and they can be reached like everyone else through publications that appeal to their interests and desires, that deliver the kind of loyal readership that can be proved both in surveys and in down-to-earth sales. Here is a ready-made market waiting to be asked to buy. Here are millions of customers for what you have to sell. Customers with $15 billion to spend. Floor.
I've been calling on these accounts long enough to know that the Negro just wants to be treated like everybody else. No matter who you're calling, I stay away from talk about race or religion, making money. That's uppermost in his mind.
So basically what I got out of this back then from this documentary, we were looked at as economic units, not citizens or not equals. You can just listen to the verbiage, you know. Johnson was the producer.
I guess maybe what I'm saying is that...
So obviously they used a black publishing company to produce the film. This is still relevant today. The largest black advertising agency is the Burrell Communications, started by Tom Burrell many years ago. It was sold. I remember Tom sold maybe about 49% of it back in the early 2000s. I'm very familiar with the Burrell Communications Company. Obviously, it's based here out of Chicago. This was my dream job once I got out of college. I wanted to work for Burrell. So once I graduated from college, uh, the first company that I went and applied for was Burrell. I didn't get in. Back then, a job was, getting good jobs has always been hard. But back then it was even harder. You couldn't even get a job with the city of Chicago if nepotism. Just like, to get in with the city back then, you had to know somebody. You had to know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody, unless you had a parent that was in. Both of my parents worked for the city. Obviously, my mom, my dad worked for, this is before, a lot of the different factions were combined into what now is known as City of Chicago Streets and Sanitation Departments, where they were separated. So he worked for the City of Chicago Sewer Department. I wanted to work for Burrell. The reason why is because in college, obviously, the job I worked for in retail, but at night I did marketing and promotions for Def Jam. So this is back when street teams were very popular in the 90s. The music industry has, I wouldn't say declined, but has gone in a different direction. Technology has come in and affected the music industry. But back then, people were still going to the stores. Back then you had, your major record stores like your Virgin, your Tower, Coconuts, Music Land, so on and so forth. You also had mom and pop record stores, throughout the neighborhood here in Chicago. Some of the more familiar ones was George's Music Room. You had Fletcher's. You had Music Tracks on 87th Street. Fletcher's, One Stop. You had Coop's Records on 87th and Stony. So there were, and then up north you had like Gramophone, but there was independent mom and pop owned record store because that industry was thriving. People were buying records for their record player. Then it evolved to cassette tapes and then CDs. But still in the 90s, a lot of people were moving units. Music has declined. Technology has come in. I remember our artists could ship platinum. So, you're younger, you probably don't understand what ship platinum means. It means they will go platinum just off the orders, because that's how many units were being moved. Certain artists just shipped platinum. The record stores knew they were going to sell a specific album, so they would order so many. You had major big box retailers that had music aisles. Target. Even when I was working at Target in the early 2000s after college, they still had a music area where you could go pick CDs and cassette tapes. Walmart, your Venture, your Zayre, so, and a lot of these big box retailers, they were, I remember Get Rich or Die Trying, when that came out, I remember I believe it shipped platinum. Was it Get Rich or Die Trying, or was it Kanye? I think it was, no, was it Get Rich or Die Trying? Was it his second album? I can't remember, but I remember it shipped platinum. One of the main reasons because Target ordered 500,000 units. So, music industry was, and I'm just giving you the story, and I'm gonna get to it. And so by me working for Def Jam, I was doing marketing promotion at night. So I thought it would be a good transition after I got out of college to just, here's the largest Black-owned marketing agency, and it's right here in Chicago. It was just a lot of marketing dollars. I did really good with street teams because there was just so much marketing dollars. because the money was coming out of the artist's budget. So the record labels would just ship, like they would ship me just so much, promotional material for every artist that was coming out on Def Jam, from snippets, this when snippets were very, very, you probably don't even know what a snippet is, but they'll send like let's say I remember Memphis Bleak. I was working on the Memphis Bleak campaign. Oh, no, let me say something that more people probably remember. I was working on the backstage. I want to talk about backstage. Ja Rule, Vinny Vetti Vecchi, Holla. I remember they sent me so much marketing material for that, right? I still had to service the DJ, so they would send me 2 boxes. Each box had 30 units of records. So I had to service all the DJs. Servicing the DJs was taking like DJ Ferris and Bulu Master. I'd have to find whatever clubs they were spinning in on specific nights, and I would have to go in and service them vinyl, right? Because they want the albums played in the club. Back then, DJs were still spinning vinyl. Most DJs wanted what was considered doubles. They wanted 2 copies. So I had to make sure I give Ferris 2, because if you ever DJ before, they'll put one on here and then one over there, and they'll do their tricks and blends. They also sent snippets, which were the single, which was for Ja Rule, was Vinny Vetti Vecchi. That was an album, but Holla Holla was the first single. So it sent a couple boxes of cassette tapes, which you would pass out, and it'll have the single on one side, and then on the B side, it'll have maybe like a snippet of another song that was on the album. This is all free marketing material to pass out. And then they would send a shit ton of poster boards. So each box of poster board, the box might have been this thick, and it got these long poster boards, which will have the album cover, and it'll say coming summer, or they'll have different rollouts. Some will say coming summer 2000, coming summer 99, and as it got closer, they'll send the same marketing material, but then I have the date. And then my job for that was to staple those to like the street poles. So I'll take 2 long posters and I'll staple one side together, fold it around, staple it. And then what I used to do is I would just cover the whole pole. I'd push it up, do it again, push it up. So now the whole pole, and I would target like certain areas like club night. Like I remember back then, Thursday night was the Convent, Andromedas. I remember Baja Beach Club over on Erie back in the day. On Thursday, had a popping Thursday night. I would cover like the area of Zentra on Sunday night. If an artist was coming to town, let's say the R tour, Nas was on that tour, but the Def Jam artist was on that tour, was Foxy Brown. So I would have to make sure the venue, they were at the United Center. I would plaster the venue. I would have to be there early because the city of Chicago might come down and take the shit down. So I have to go back and put it. Like they sent me thousands of this shit. They would also send flyers and shit like that. So I had a lot of experience doing marketing and promotions for Def Jam. And then that opened me up to, newer opportunities. Back then, all the street guys that would bring artists to town, I'm not going to say no names, but would come to me and like, yo, I got Foxy coming. She doing the after party this night. While you out here doing this, can I give you $200, $300, $400 to pass out these pluggers and do it? I was making good money. So because I had this experience and I got to work on different projects, I got to do a small little leg in the area of the backstage tour, which was very, 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 I learned a lot from that tour. I've seen a lot. All right, I'm just going to say that. Maybe I'll say that shit for another day. But after I graduated college, since I had this experience in marketing and promotions, and Burrell was the largest Black marketing company, and it was based here in Chicago, I tried to get in, couldn't get in. Nepotism wasn't weighing in my favor. I didn't know anybody. I didn't come from a family that, was movers and shakers, so to speak. A guy who I was friend with at the particular time who went to Howard, I'm not going to say his name, he was able to get in. Obviously he went to Howard. I didn't go to a historically Black college. Mother couldn't afford it. His father was a author or a lawyer, and his mother was a lawyer. One of his parents was an author, and the other parent was a lawyer. So he went to Howard, prestigious black family, big house in Beverly. For the people that live in Chicago, you know Beverly is a prestigious area on the South Side. So they had a little bit more pull. They knew some people that knew some people that knew some people, and you know he was able to get in. All right, so Burrell is the largest black marketing and promotions company that companies go to when they want to target the black audience. So basically what I'm saying is what you saw then in this documentary still holds precedence today. I'm just thinking about some of the projects that you may know that Burrell worked on. Who remembers the Coca-Cola commercial from the late 90s with Tyrese? A lot of the older, they're still got these contracts and accounts today. Let's see what they got today. So there are two main contracts that they've had over the course of the years that may be memorable is McDonald's and Sprite. If you remember watching Soul Train back in the day, all those Sprite commercials that you would see during, Soul Train, that was all Burrell. Coca-Cola, the Tyrese one where he was on the bus with the big smile, and he had the little chin thing, the little ring, that was Burrell. McDonald's, if you notice, McDonald's has two different types of commercials they run. They run like a universal one targeted to everybody else, but then they have like the black ones. The black commercials come from Burrell. Burrell does all that. So McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and Sprite are the more memorable ones to me because if you watch like Soul Train and shit like that, you saw those commercials. You saw the Coca-Cola commercial. You saw the Sprite commercials. You still see them today. Not so much. I don't see them because I don't watch TV in McDonald's. Some of the other contracts that they work with is Toyota is one. There's a lot of black Toyota commercials. Toyota likes to target a black audience. So Puma. So I mean, there's advertising agencies that still today these corporate companies come to black advertising agencies to target the black audience. If you don't remember that Tyrese commercial, let me see if I can pull it up.
Of Corey Holcomb and not stand with the stuff that he talks about. When you look at the video,
what is this? Tyrese. So Burrell put that together. That was one of the that's kind of what put Tyrese kind of on the map. So I don't know. This was a good educational documentary. I know there's some people that came in earlier. I guess they thought we were gonna like have like some type of racial thing. Hope they feel kind of foolish, but it is what it is. Anytime you do something, it seems like education, and if they feel excluded or if anybody feels excluded, they get upset. Like I don't see anything wrong with uplifting your people. It just seems like when we do it, it's an issue. And to me, I don't understand. So I tell y'all, especially y'all young guys, man, get your money, bro. Get your education and get your money. Make sure you educated. Make sure you educated. Don't look down on education. Don't feel like you're going to be a goofy or nerd. You can still have your urban essence, you know what I'm saying? But you're going to be more of a dangerous individual when you have both. And what occurred earlier on, which really to me wasn't really nothing, but I wanted to make light of it because of the ignorance. They don't like when we educate. They don't. They don't. You watching a documentary that you didn't make, that was made 72 years ago, is considered racist or more racial shit. So if I go watch a documentary on Mr., I ain't even gonna say his name, the H guy, just for educational purposes, is that considered racist? If I go watch a documentary on maybe the history of the migration of the Italian to America, is that racist? Is it racial or whatever? Because I'm curious how and when Italians migrated from Italy to America. Is that? Or if I go watch a documentary on Christopher Columbus, did he really discover America? Were the Indians here? Or was that racist? It's only when you watch something that's pertaining to your ethnicity, all more racial shit. It's Black History Month. Black History Month. I'm not the black man that's scared to publicly talk about issues as it pertains to Black history. Why? Because I don't have to go punch anybody's clock. I don't have to go apply somewhere and then they're going to go through my social media shit and be like, you know what, you're a little bit too risky for this company. See, I don't have to do that. So I can't be silenced, which also makes me dangerous, which they seem to have a problem. Now, let me not say they. There's somebody that seems to have a problem. Not who you think it is. We're cool. But somebody seems to have a problem with that. You can't silence Big Mark. You can't. This is why I tell y'all. Crazy. Get out of here before we block you. See, the thing with you, Crazy, is you just don't know when it's you don't know when to be quiet. See, you don't know when you should just be in the room and we shouldn't even know you here. You don't know when you should just not say nothing. It's just like me coming into on May 5th and coming into a goddammit stream and you celebrating Mexican independence and then I come in. Like what, like this is not like me, I know when to just, man, that's their day. Let them have that. They celebrating independence, or is that September or is that May? Cinco de Mayo's May. I think independence is in September, bro. Like, this is not geared towards nothing but education. It's not to belittle anybody. It's to educate us on our history. Not trying to demean anybody. What it is some people they come in, they watch, but the mask gets pulled down and it hurts them. I didn't do this. My ancestors didn't do this to us. So if you don't like it, don't watch. Like, it's on YouTube. Like, it's on YouTube. I'm watching this on YouTube. If YouTube had a problem with it, then that documentary, it wouldn't be on YouTube. There was nothing wrong with that documentary. The only thing that documentary did, what it revealed, is how corporations view Black Americans, primarily as economic units and not as equals. And it portrayed that. It's obvious in the verbiage. And I'm paralleling with today. That's why McDonald's and Coca-Cola goes to Burrell. There's another large, humongous Black advertising company that I also tried to work for when I couldn't get in Burrell. That's a very, very large advertising agency, also based here, headquartered here out of Chicago. It's called Leo Burnett. Now, Leo Burnett is a advertising agent. They just do commercials. McDonald's also gives Leo Burnett millions and millions of dollars every year. But those commercials are general. They're just general commercials. They're more eclectic. They target all audiences. When you watch a commercial that Leo Burnett is in charge of or produces, it's not geared towards a specific ethnicity or a specific demographic. But McDonald's will give Burrell millions of dollars a year to produce advertisements geared towards a Black ethnicity. So even today, we're still looked at as an economic unit. To me, a Big Mac is a Big Mac. If I see a commercial for a Big Mac, I don't care if you got a Black guy, a Hispanic guy, a white guy at the register. If I watch this commercial and the Big Mac looks good and they got it real juicy, and I found out that the food that's in the commercials ain't even real food. I found out that's some type of props and stuff that they make to look extra juicy and shit like that. And the cheese is just melting the right way, and the patty is just juicy and it looks wet and moist, and the secret sauce just looks saucy and shit, and it encourages me to go be a slob and go to McDonald's and order one. And the commercial I don't care who you got in the commercial. I'm not interested in the person that's biting into the Big Mac. The Big Mac is the selling point. I'm more concerned about the Big Mac. But they still do it. You know why? Influence. Yo, Travis Scott, Big Mac or McDonald's meal. Cardi B, McDonald's meal. And they go to Burrell because they're targeting a specific ethnicity. And they're targeting a specific ethnicity, and they're targeting a specific, they're using the influence to bring in more sales. There's a lot of McDonald's in urban America. Urban America is not as affluent, or some parts of urban America are not as affluent as certain other parts. And when you go to certain areas in some of these more major, metropolitan cities, There's a McDonald's on every other corner. Why? They make a lot of money. Why? Because it's an economic meal. So that's why they spend extra money targeting a specific demographic, because there's so many McDonald's. When I go to rural, not rural like middle America, but like rural, so let me not say rural, but let me say suburban areas, McDonald's are far and few between. Just me off the top of my head, said McDonald's. Well, it was one on 95th in the Dan Ryan. It's one right off 95th in Ashland. It's one on 87th in the Dan Ryan. 87th and 87th in the Dan Ryan, and then about a half a mile down, it's another one on 87th in like Cregier and Marynut, right before you get to Stony. Go a little bit further east, is one on 91st and Commercial. Just going, let me see, 79th. It's one on 79th and King Drive. It's one on 79th and Western. It's one on 71st. Is that 69th? Is that a McDonald's? I know it's one on 60 something in the Dan Ryan. It's all over. It's another one on Stony, 66 and Stony. They're all over. It's an economic meal. If I go on the north side, it's one on Clark Street. You got Rock and Roll. One on Clark right before Fullerton. They're far and few between. One on 69th, right? They far and few between. That demographic, although they like McDonald's, but they can also, the household income in that demographic is higher, so they can afford a better meal. When you rubbing some quarters together and you trying to come up with enough money, you can go to McDonald's. I mean, it's a lot more expensive today than it once was, but you can still get a burger, a fry, and a drink for under $10. I don't know if they still got the dollar menu, but you get the point. When I go into more affluent areas, I don't see a McDonald's on every other corner. So this is why they spend so much money marketing to this specific demographic. I don't see them marketing to Hispanic Americans or Asian Americans. So I'm just proving the point, man. You know, so we are spenders. We spend a lot of money. When I worked for Target, and this is just to go into our spending habits. I worked for Target. I opened a Target in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood back in 2003. This is when Target was still coming to the city, right? And they were building, right? This is when they were coming into the city. So I opened up a Target, meaning I got hired prior to store opening, help with the shelves and all that, loading, building the store and stocking it in preparation for grand opening. Right? I got hired as a manager because Burrell didn't give me a job, so I had to go work somewhere. So as a manager, I was privy to, other stores that were in our district's numbers. So, you had a store on 44th and Pulaski, the one on Roosevelt, and Clark wasn't there yet because I had to help with that store. What other stores? The one in Bedford Park was in our district, on Cicero. and it was like maybe a few other stores, but then there was the store that's no longer there on 87th and Cottage Grove. Now, out of all the stores that were in our district, 87th and Cottage Grove was the store that was in a predominant black community. That neighborhood, economically, the household income was less than the other targets in our district. That target performed better than any other target. And when I say better, not close. So for instance, Target is a big box retailer. All right. We're doing high gross numbers a day. So on an average day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, my store would average somewhere $40,000, $50,000 a day gross revenue. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that Target on 87th and the Dan Ryan was doing $100,000 on a weekday. On a weekend, more people are shopping because they're not at work. You got to remember, this is before Amazon. Amazon was only selling books. There was no gig economy. So there was no people ordering groceries and ordering essentials online. Like, you had to go to the store. This is 03. This is 04. This is 05. So on Saturdays when people weren't at work, because people worked real jobs then too, this is when they would go run around and do their grocery shopping and shit like that. Sundays is when the sale starts. So Saturday, people are buying from the previous sale. And then Sunday, you got a flurry of people coming because it's when the new sale starts. Saturday and Sunday, our store and the other stores would do 100,000. 87th and Cottage store was doing 250 on Saturday and Sunday. $250 fucking $1,000. It wasn't even close. We spend a lot of money. Where it comes from, the hell, I don't know. This is another reason why corporations spend millions of dollars marketing to us, I should say. To me, back then, as a 23, 24, 25, even though I had a degree in business, I'm like, where's this money? Like, how is this store? Because we had to look at the numbers, management, we looked at the numbers. We're like, man, in my head, no one talked about it as far as management. We just say, LY, 87 the Cottage did this yesterday, 71st did this, we did this. LY last year we did 44,000. This yesterday we did 45. So we're up 1,000 LY from yesterday. These is like the morning management, But I'm just sitting there listening. I'm listening like, how the fuck we doing 50? How are they doing $100,000 on a Tuesday? I'm from the community. Like, I'm driving way over here for work, but I know at that community, as far as the household income, I'm trying to figure out where is the money coming from. We're spenders. That store is no longer there due to theft. So the number one earning store in the marketplace, as far as Target is concerned for this market, they closed it. It wasn't theft that was external theft. They closed it a few years ago. It was internal theft. But they closed it. So now that is a desert. People got to drive a little bit farther to get, essentials and things of that nature. They closed it due to internal theft. They also closed the other one that was in the black neighborhood on 119th. And the only two they closed. They closed the Walmart that was down the street from it. I'm willing to bet even though I'm not privy to those numbers, that Walmart on 83rd and Stewart outsold any other Walmart in the state. But they also closed that due to internal theft. Every time I went to that Walmart, I hated going to that Walmart. Sometimes I just had no choice because it was just convenience. It was never not packed. So this is why companies market directly to us, because we are the biggest consumers. But this was not, this wasn't one of those documentaries that, like how we watched the Uncle Tom. I wanted to really watch this documentary. So I said, fuck it, I'll do it with the audience on, how these corporations marketed to us back then and see if it's the same today. And it's pretty much the same. Nothing's different. Nothing's changed. And I'm glad those people that came in earlier, and if they're still watching, hopefully you learned something as well. Got to get that hate up out your heart. Got to get it up out your heart, man. And, education is education. See, I don't have any hate in my heart. That's why God is, he just blesses the kid. But when you misinterpret things and you don't give something a chance, you end up looking crazy. You end up looking like a fool, whoever you people are. Because there was nothing racist about this documentary. Actually business. But, emotions will cause you to jump to a false conclusion because a certain word may trigger you that really shouldn't trigger you. It should trigger me, but it doesn't because I'm not emotional. I understand how to make it as a black man, especially a dark-skinned one in this country. Racism doesn't affect me. My mother told me a long time ago. And it's something that goes over a lot of people's head because they think, being educated is like some clown shit. But education, you can still be hood. You can still have your urban essence. I still got mine. You can't take it out of me. It's in me. I was born, I was raised in it, still in it. I live in one of the most dangerous cities in America. I ain't left. Mama still own the same house. Ain't no sense moving when it's paid for. So you can still have your urban essence and still be educated at the same time. The urban hood shit is not what's going to get you there. It's not. It's the education, and this is what they dislike. So when they come in, it's hard. You can't. They don't want to see you bring forth something because some people in here, maybe like a Ty who's younger, just using him for an example, may have never watched this. This may have never come across his feed based on the things that's in his algorithm, what he watches. But because of the influence that I have, they certain people in the younger generation, I fought with Mark, I'm going to sit here and watch this. This is not something that I may have been directly interested in on my own, but if Mark going to watch it, I'm going to watch it. So I understand that. This is what they don't like because they want the younger people to remain ignorant. That's why they push certain things. You wonder why people who really aren't talented seem like they get a huge push as it pertains to entertainment, which is cool. It's cool to listen to. you know, got a little bop or a little jingle to it. And I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to discredit anybody that's getting their money. But it's certain music. There was a particular female artist, let's say, that came out a few years ago. Not the one that's really trending right now because they're her sister. So I don't want you to think it's her, but it's another one from the Midwest. And her music, so I hear that music and then I think about little black girls listening to this, and then this is what they're hearing. So I can already tell what the next generation of young black women is going to be like. That'll get pushed. That'll get pushed. And you wonder, well, why is this everywhere? Why is this being marketed? Why is it being promoted? Why is the radio spinning this? But when this small creator who does, educational things and then say, Black History Month, we're going to watch some educational things before I even come on camera, they're here. That means they're watching me anyway. They have an agenda, which is fine. You just can't silence me. I'm not like your other content creators who scared. I have the resources and the tools. And no one is going to silence me from talking about Black history during Black History Month. So you can keep your notifications on. I'll be back here one day next week because every late night show I do for the rest of this month is going to be something pertaining to Black history because I'm a Black man. You can't silence me. It doesn't matter. I don't have to go punch somebody's clock. So I'm not concerned about the things I discuss online. See, I don't have to go punch a clock. I don't have to worry about, well, I may have to go apply. I don't. It's different. I'm different. Not like those other guys. Oh. Yeah. Probably should leave this nigga alone. This nigga a little bit different. This nigga a little bit different. I'm over east too. I'm over east. So next week, I think we're going to go, since it seems to be an issue, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to go into something, because they still watching. They still playing with the dislike button. That's fine. So that lets me know they still watching. That's cool. So next week, what we're going to do is, since this was very light, this wasn't even like real deep Black history as far as like slavery and none of this is more business. But since it seems to be an issue, let's cover some Malcolm X stuff next week. Let's pull up some Malcolm X interviews next week. I think we're going to go Malcolm X. Because I wasn't going to go Malcolm X. But let's go Malcolm X. There was an interview with Malcolm X. I think the interview was City News or City Trends, City something. And it was one of the more memorable Malcolm X interviews where the reporter asked him, he wanted to refer to him as Malcolm Little. And Malcolm X had to explain to him why he removed the name Little and went to X. So maybe we're going to watch that next week. We're going to watch that one. Make sure you're here now. You guys that keep it just, I'm going to be here. You'll probably be in your truck or something driving, moseying. That's fine. Give you something to do. Give you something to do. I'm going to still be here in the house, though. You can mosey down the road, watch this, and punch the air, which to me, I don't know. It's not bothering. I'm not demeaning anybody. Just Black history. You don't like that Black people are watching documentaries of Black history during Black History Month? That's racist? No. Celebrating your heritage is racist. How? When other people do it, it's fine. I'll be here though. You can't bully me out of talking about Black history. And I'm a Black man. Can't do it. I'll be here to the 28th. And then next month, we won't hear about Black history until February 2027. This just lets me know people are scared of me. I would be scared of me too. How about this? I got 10 grand. For the people that seem to have an issue with it, put your 10 grand up, put your 10 grand up against my 10 grand. And we can debate. We'll put the money in escrow because we want to make sure you have it. We need to make sure you have it because the last person I had an issue with when I won, they didn't have my nickel. They had to work it off. Shout out to the person for working it off. I appreciate you. I got 10 grand. You put your 10 grand up. I put my 10 grand up. We put it in escrow. And we debate on if Black history is racist or not. Is Black History Month racist or not? Talking about Black history during Black History Month, is it racist or not? I got 10,000. You put your 10,000 up, truckers? Because I know this who is some truckers, some, which is cool because I don't have no issue. Then we can have the debate and best person win. The money where your mouth is, big dog. See, I like to put the money up. I don't like all this bullshit. We can do one or two things. We can put the bread up or we could box. We can go down to Miami. I'll just hit up Aiden Ross, say, look, I'm an influencer. I got these other guys. I'm going to box. We could box. Or we could put that money on up and debate. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready tomorrow. I ain't got to train. I'm ready already. I ain't got to train. I ain't got to train, big dog. I'm ready. I'm ready tomorrow. I'm ready already. I ain't got to train. I ain't got to get in shape. I'm already ready. I'm already ready. I stay ready. See, I ain't got to do none of that. See, I just call motherfucker out. So yeah, next week we're gonna cover Malcolm X, man. That should be really interesting. That should be really interesting because I don't even, Malcolm X was a very, very interesting person. Very interesting. I wanted to cover more of the educational as far as business things. That's why I chose the how to sell to the Negro. They don't like this. They don't like that fact. So if you don't like this, man, I'm curious to know when I get into more deep things, which I wasn't planning on going in that direction. Because a lot of that stuff is longer watches, and I just don't want to be sitting watching 2-hour documentaries and, sitting through an hour and 45 minutes of Uncle Tom. It was just, which was fine. I did it, but it was also late. I do these shows at night. So I'm looking for more shorter things like this one. Shout out to the super chats. I'll read those in a second. Like the selling to the Negro, which is short. I can get in and get out, but fuck it. We'll hit Malcolm X. We'll hit Martin. Touch on Martin. Where else should we go after we hit Martin and Malcolm? Maybe we should touch on the Black Panthers too. Black Panther Party. Fred Hampton. Then we'll come back to some more education. We'll hit Marcus Garvey. But I think maybe next week we touch on more, a little bit more radical. Yeah, they don't like this. Listen, y'all, if y'all could see what I can see, they upset. And I don't understand why. I haven't said anything derogatory towards anybody. Talking about black people. I'm black. Haven't talked about how anybody oppressed us or anything. I talked about marketing towards the black American. They're upset about that. Interesting. Somewhere on TikTok right now, there's a black person doing some buffoonery. Somewhere on Instagram, they're doing it. Somewhere on X, they're doing it. I'm here talking about something that's educational. Marketing, promotions, publishing, doing a comparison analysis from the 50s to now. From a business perspective, on marketing towards a specific demographic. Very educational. But when I see people doing dumb buffoonery on these other platforms, it's celebrated. Why? Why is that? Why can't we? Why is it a crime to educate? I like when people do this because it just proves the point. It makes it's hard to look in the mirror. See, when you put the mirror in front of the individual, it's hard to look. I learned more before I even started the live stream than I did in the live stream, as far as the reaction and watching the video. So, to the individuals that are upset, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I know the Super Bowl is tomorrow, so you know, enjoy your weekend. And to everybody else that was here for more positive reasons, hope you guys enjoy your weekend as well. Let me acknowledge these super chats before I get out of here. Shout out to Drew. Really appreciate these episodes 100. Appreciate that.
Sweet.
Shout out to Bill Bob. Appreciate that 1999.
Sweet.
Super chat. And we're going to continue to do this for the rest of Black History Month, since it seems, well, I was going to do it anyway, but since there's people that seem to have an issue with it, I'm pretty sure they're not Black. Of Black people educating Black people, or just Black people just celebrating Black History Month by looking at historical documentaries. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, next month on March 17th, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be upset that when I drive down Michigan Avenue, when I look over to the right, the river is green. Like, I'm not going to be like, why would they do that? Like, I'm not going to care. I get it. St. Patrick's Day. They're celebrating their heritage. I don't get upset every September and every May when Mexican Americans or Mexican immigrants are riding down the street with these big flags hanging out their window, or when they have these flags on their hood and they ride and they're hanging out the sunroof with the flag celebrating Mexican Independence Day. They're celebrating their heritage. I don't understand it, but when we celebrate ours, it's an issue. It's racist. So, no other Black content creators celebrating Black History Month like Big Mar. Appreciate that. I see why. I'm starting to see why, because they gonna get targeted. They gonna get targeted, bro. So they scared. I ain't scared. Scared of what? What is it to be scared of? They gonna get targeted just like I was targeted today. But I'm glad I'm being targeted because it shows you. Like, we're not even doing nothing. We're not demeaning anybody. It's nothing. But you celebrating Black History Month is racist. This shit is crazy to me. But it's a learning lesson. It's teaching me something. I do appreciate you reacting to the Uncle Tom movie. Definitely should continue to find out movies and do these lives too. And most Black young men have not seen these, right? And then the Uncle Tom movie was not racist either. It showed racism in the movie, but the reason I wanted to react to that was to stop Black people from using the term Uncle Tom out of context, because they don't know the true history of Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was the hero. The character was purposely distorted. And it worked. And so many of us don't go back and do the history to understand the true meaning or the true character who Uncle Tom was. They just heard somebody else say something and they say it. It had nothing to do with other ethnicities. It was to educate people that look like me on misusing a term. Racist. It's racist to say, yo, Uncle Tom was a hero. He didn't. He died a martyr protecting black slaves. He was a devout Christian. He had morals. He had principles. He died protecting other slaves. He refused to inflict. He did not like harm. He would not beat another slave. Even when told to do so, understanding he would get the shit beat out of him for being insubordinate. This is why they don't want it, because they want us to continue, or they want you to continue, because I'm not ignorant, to no, Mark, you can't explain to them, because we purposely distorted it for a reason, because that character was too pure. We purposely distorted it, so now you're going to take your influence, because you're a smart ass that reads fucking books. You're going to go back to your audience and you're going to educate them on something we worked so hard to distort, and educate them on who the true character. No, we can't allow that, Mr. Mark. You're doing too much. We can't allow that. You're doing too much. So we're going to do things to derail you purposely. Because Mr. Mark, you just stick to the truck and shit. We like that. We like how you know, because we know they not gonna get it anyway. So we ain't really tripping on that. We ain't really tripping on that, because actually we learning something too. So we ain't gonna. But this shit right here, no. Even though it's not demeaning to us, it is demeaning to us, because you educating your people. We don't like that. This is very interesting. You know, I'm gonna go have a conversation with some of my elders. I'm gonna ask them, what's some good things that we can talk about? Maybe we might hold off on this Malcolm thing. Let me go talk to some of the elders this weekend. Some of the elders that grew up during segregation that still live. I'm gonna talk to some of the elders. Maybe they can enlighten me on something that I may not know about, so I can do some research on, and we'll come back next week. Yeah, I'm gonna go find I'm gonna go talk to some of the elders today and tomorrow. And then when we come back next week, we'll get a little bit into detail. Because see, what you do fucking around with me is you gonna wake up a beast. Right? I could sit here all day. We could just go Black History. But I got some cars to get. It's some nice cars that I gotta get some salt off of. You in your truck moseying, I gotta go get these cars, this salt, I gotta get them off these cars. And then I'm finna go get a pedicure. You like, damn, this motherfucker was streaming yesterday. He was in the Discord. Then he's streaming his black shit right now. This guy's, yes, it's black motherfucker. You don't like that. You don't like that. You don't like it. I know. I know you don't. You don't like it. Shout out to John. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, John. So. All right. And if you're trying to get me to like go on some type of rant, like a racist rant, nah, because I'm not racist. I'm an investor. I'm a builder. I invent. I gather information from people from all different walks of life. That's what. If you limit yourself because of prejudices and racism, you won't get far. It just becomes a problem when you have a demographic of people of color, Black and Hispanic, that it's like when you have universal content, it's okay, but if you veer off every now and again, they don't like that. I mean, it is Black History Month. If I was Irish, I'd probably do like themed content in March, but I'm not. So I don't know, man. I don't know. On that note, I got shit to do. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to that person who became a member. Let me acknowledge that person before I get out of here. I saw the name. Let's see here. Let me acknowledge that person. Risen Rob just became a member. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Sweet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Shout out to Sale in the building. One of my homies is watching right now with the one who told me to to stop talking to y'all. He's funny. He's like a sometimes I wonder about this him. I wonder if he'll call in. This is somebody I've known for probably 25, maybe, let me see, almost 30 years. Let's see if he'll call in. I'm just curious. Since he's watching and trolling me. That's who keeps texting me. Let's see if he'll call in. We can talk about some old stories from the Chicago street stores. Hold on, let's see if he calls me. I'm gonna put the number on the screen for him to call me. Oops, wrong button. Come on. Let's see if he called me. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to call me, dog, since you wanna watch and text and shit like that, me dog. Now you wanna text now. You keep texting me, call me. Call the show. You steady texting me. You wanna troll me while you watching the show, bro. Just call. We can have a conversation. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to call, bro. I'm gonna put a time on the screen. I'm gonna see if you're gonna call up, bro. If you don't, then I gotta go. I don't understand why you steady text trolling me, bro. Like, go ahead, chill out. See if one of my homies call into the show. See if he call. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Boom, 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 boom. And he ain't gonna call. He ain't gonna call. We got another member join. Say 2 members. Let's see. Risen Rob and Marcus Williams. Shout out to Marcus Williams. Let's see. Let's acknowledge Mr. Marcus Williams. Shout out to Marcus Williams for becoming a member as well.
Sweet.
All right, my homie, he ain't gonna call. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy y'all Saturday, man. For the people that watch Super Bowls and shit like that, happy Super Bowl Sunday. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.